If the American people were in the courtroom the way that we were and could see what we saw, I think that they would also realize that this is nothing but a Biden-targeted trial in an attempt to smear the president before the upcoming election cycle.
This trial is a joke. Judge Merchan, he has major conflicts of interest. People forget he donated to Joe Biden directly. But even bigger than that, when you look at all the evidence or lack thereof brought by the prosecution, you realize there's no crime here. So Judge Merchan should do the right thing. He should throw this case out now.
And that was Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna and Florida Congressman Byron Donalds with me yesterday on Sunday Morning Futures. They were in the courtroom, both of them, for former President Trump's trial in New York last week. Trump will be back in court later this morning with more cross-examination of his ex-attorney, Michael Cohen. Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles also attended the Trump trial last week. He's now introducing the Let Trump Speak Act. It prohibits judges from issuing gag orders to defendants in any criminal or civil proceedings, with some exceptions. Joining me now, the man himself, Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles. He's a member of the House Freedom Caucus and the House Financial Services Committee. Congressman, tell us about this bill. Good morning to you.
Good morning. And what this bill does is it creates a prohibition on these gag orders that are clearly politically motivated and a right of action. So he could sue because his rights are being violated. And so with that, we were there. You could tell that this trial is nothing more than a political witch hunt. And so enough is enough. Trump should be acquitted. He should be back on the campaign trail. And that's it. They're trying to keep Trump off of the campaign trail and keeping him tied up in court.
Well, what about where we are in the trial right now? I mean, it looks like we're close to closing arguments. How do you think this plays out?
Well, I'd like to think, when you're looking at body language, that you're going to have a fair-minded jury, that they're going to look at the evidence. The defense did a great job of putting Cohen in a box and clearly really disassembled his testimony and his credibility. So they really don't have any other choice but to acquit. So cross your fingers, hope that due process does what it's supposed to do and that Trump is acquitted. Look, what's at stake here is the future of the republic. This trial is simply a hiccup in that journey. We're going to win the White House, we're going to win the Senate, and we're going to win the House of Representatives.
Caroline, jump in here.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to this trial, there's just no doubt that it is ruled by political vendetta. And when you look at Judge Merchan's campaign contributions, of course, it doesn't matter how minor they are, they're prohibited for judges, and they show Judge Merchan's favoritism for the Democrats. But we don't even need to see his history of donations to see his bias. By the way he's conducted this case, which is conducted this courtroom, and it's a non-existent crime, as Byron Donalds already said, of Trump lying to his checkbook. There's no fraud, there's no victim, and yet Judge Merchan allowed the prosecution to steamroll this trial with Stormy Daniels' salacious testimony that is irrelevant to the business records falsification charges in the indictment. And so it's just absurd from beginning to end. And we also know that Judge Merchan's daughter is a Democratic political operative. So the compromising goes way beyond that.
Well, I mean, you raise all these conflicts of interest, and Congressman, we all agree talking about these every day, and yet they seem to be getting away with it. Judge Merchan is there every day, and he's got a gag order on President Trump. No accountability, despite everything Caroline just listed.
Oh, absolutely. It's like I said before, if I started a story with a felon and a hooker walk into a bar, it's a joke, right? This is a joke of a trial that is politically motivated. It is to do one thing, again, to keep Donald Trump off of the campaign trail because they're scared to death. Joe Biden's numbers are atrocious. This idea that they're going to debate, I think, quite frankly, is a joke in and of itself as well because, again, President Trump, he's in good spirits. He's ready to fight. He's ready to debate, but they're afraid of Donald Trump being on the campaign trail. This joke of a trial is really a persecution, not a prosecution.
Well, the first debate now is next month. What are you expecting?
Well, I think, Joe Biden will get a cold or something like that, or they'll have so many strings attached that it'll really make it prohibitive for Donald Trump to actually, have a debate. But we'll see. Again, I'm somewhat skeptical. I can't speak for the president. I'm thinking he's probably skeptical as well, but he's ready to go. He's ready to debate.
Well, President Biden, meanwhile, delivering the Morehouse College commencement address yesterday in Atlanta, Students were seen turning their backs on the president while he spoke. Some even walked out of the speech. Biden demanded a ceasefire in Gaza while also addressing the anti-Israel protests on college campuses. Watch this.
I want to say this very clearly. I support peaceful, nonviolent protest. Your voices should be heard, and I promise you I hear them.
Congressman, I want to get your reaction to Biden's speech yesterday, but I also want to talk about this bill that you're introducing, the bill would send anybody convicted of illegal activity on a college campus, it would send them to Gaza for at least 6 months. I got to be honest, Congressman, when I first saw this, I thought this was a joke. Are you serious? Anybody who's arrested on a college campus, being an activist, you want to send to Gaza?
Well, part of it's a messaging bill to reset the conversation. We've got to have accountability on these college campuses. And so we're literally shortly after dropping the bill, you started to see this crackdown on college campuses where they started disassembling these protests and these camps. And so it had the impact to say, look, if you guys don't do, essentially create the rule of law, because again, if this was a Christian group, it was a conservative group, they wouldn't have allowed these types of protests, mayhem, and destruction on these college campuses. But because they're woke liberals, and quite frankly, many of these administrations agreed with the students, they're anti-Semitic, they're anti, quite frankly, America, I would argue. And so it was a messaging bill. But look, if these folks truly understand what the world is like, go to Gaza, see it for yourself. They're going to be crying back home, wanting to be with their mommies and daddies, because you know what? The world's a dangerous place, and the comfort of their college campus is rather nice compared to the Gaza Strip.
I mean, honestly, you're not really expecting any students to go to Gaza, are you?
Oh, of course not, and nor would they, right? But look. We've got to have accountability. We've got to have this messaging bill to set the record straight. You can't do this.
Let me set the record straight. Let me set the record straight on immigration here, because Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer on Friday said that the Senate is going to once again vote on the failed border bill this week. This was the border legislation negotiated by Oklahoma Senator James Lankford, Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema, and Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy. Republicans rejected that bill back in February. It allows 4,000 people to come in before Biden would do anything about the open border. And they say that it would not solve the crisis. It would have allowed Biden to abuse the parole system as well. But Schumer sent a letter to senators last night. He claims the bill will give Biden, quote, new authorities to close the border. We all know he doesn't need any new authorities. He walked into the Oval Office and overturned all of Trump's security. Now he says he wants more authority from Congress. Your reaction?
Well, this is nothing more than political cover for Democrats in tough districts. And so that's all this is going to do, because, as you said, this bill, if passed, would give Biden cover and allow him to create another class and abuse the parole system. And the problem is once you assign a class or a category to these illegals, you can't deport them in a time where we need mass deportations, quite frankly. So I think it'll fail. But this is Schumer protecting Democrats in tough races so they can say, look, we're for closing the border.
All politics all the time, apparently. Congressman, thank you very much for being here. We so appreciate your time.